And we are back now with a live look at Hudson Beach, Florida tonight. Hurricane Helene on the cusp of making landfall as a Category 4 storm. We continue to watch this shot just a few moments ago. We saw a dumpster just rapidly move across those waters out there.
Yeah, although it's long past this area there of western Florida, you can still see the storm surge in full effect. However, farther north on the Panhandle, that's where we find Fox News reporter Connor Hansen live in Tallahassee tonight with more on conditions there. Connor, what's it like at this hour?
Marina, we're seeing the rain steadily pick up here and that wind picking up as we get those outer bands of Hurricane Helene getting closer and closer, expected to make landfall here in the Big Bend region of Florida in about an hour or so. The prediction was 11 p.m., so we're certainly expecting things to pick up very soon here. And just as I speak, hearing even bigger gusts come through. This will likely make landfall as a Category 4 hurricane, wind speeds in the neighborhood of 130 miles per hour. In a town like Tallahassee, filled with so many trees, one of the biggest issues is going to be power outages. We've seen linemen and utility trucks lining some of the parking lots around here ready to go as soon as this storm's over. But perhaps what will be the most dangerous part of this hurricane will be the storm surge. Officials calling it a non-survivable storm surge of 20 feet on the coastline about 30 minutes south of here. That'll be over people's roofs. They're telling people they had told people in those areas to evacuate, yesterday basically, but at this point in the storm, they're telling people to stay where they are, find shelter, and ride out the storm as it passes directly over Tallahassee. And as a Category 4 storm, this will be the strongest hurricane the state's capital has ever seen. It's also a college town, about 70,000 students between Florida State and the other universities here, so a lot of them hunkering down if they didn't get out of town yesterday.
Some of these images we're seeing out there, Connor, are absolutely stunning. We saw a bridge in Tampa that was still open for traffic. Cars were out there on the roads, and I know the governor down there has told people stay at home. Are you seeing people challenging this weather out there and still hitting the roads?
Luckily, it has seemed very quiet on the roads here. People heeding those warnings, hopefully staying home or going to a shelter. Last thing we want people doing right now is getting out on the roads now. As you mentioned, the governor giving that warning. But yes, we've certainly seen a preview of what we can expect when the hurricane does make landfall. This storm has just been wreaking havoc up and down the western coast of Florida, all the way from Miami to Tampa up to the Big Bend, where we expect the actual storm to hit. So we're just gearing up, getting ready here, telling people to stay where they are because the wind is about to get out of control. Trees are going to come down. Officials here warning people once they hear that loud snapping noise, that's likely a tree coming down, and that's more dangerous, than the wind, blowing on your home. The other thing to take note of for people who live around here, there's going to be a huge eye of this storm that's going to pass directly over the area. So it might sound like the hurricane has passed, but it'll start right back up again with some of the strongest weather. After tonight, this storm is expected to head straight into Georgia, where they're also warning about potential extreme flash floods and really all over the southeast, depending on what kind of turn this hurricane makes.
Connor Hansen for us in Tallahassee there. Thank you, Connor. Let's get to our Mike Thomas now. And Mike, a monster of a storm here. Connor there on the Panhandle, but just behind you, it seems like the track is more heading towards the Big Bend, if you will.
Right, the Big Bend, as they call it. That is this area right here of Florida. And for this particular area, it will be the strongest. You just heard our reporter there tell you, the strongest hurricane to ever make landfall in this region. Now, Florida certainly had their share of Category 5s hit as well. 2018, Michael hit a little closer to Panama City, and then, of course, famously Hurricane Andrew down near Miami. Those were both Category 5s. One of the things that makes the Big Bend so dangerous, the water kind of gets funneled up in there along the winds out in front of the hurricane, and that's why the storm surge. Look, we talk about deadliest part of a hurricane. You hear about the wind. You see 140 miles per hour. That's a scary number. That's a mid-level Category 4. But the deadliest part of a hurricane is always the storm surge. So really hope hope folks in this region follow those evacuation orders when they were issued. We'll go in close here, and I'll pause it because you see the outer kind of rim of the eye wall is getting closer and closer to shore. It doesn't officially make landfall until we get at least part of the eye over onto land. That hasn't happened just yet, but again, likely within the next hour that Helene will officially make landfall in Florida. We'll be watching that for you here. Here locally, Helene, it'll bring a little wind and a little bit of shower activity, but nothing overwhelming. It's not like Debbie that hit us in early August that brought everybody a ton of rain. Remember all the tornadoes? Yeah, that's not expected because of the track that Helene will take after she makes landfall. 75 D.C., 71 for Leonardtown, 74 Dulles. We're already feeling the effects of Helene, and I do mean feeling it in the dew points. They have been up all day. It feels like summer again, right, in terms of how thick things feel out there. 72 Quantico, 72 Leonardtown. Anything 70 or above is very humid air, particularly for late September here. So, again, we've kind of flashed back a couple of months to summertime here with how things are feeling. Now, we do have light rain showers pushing their way up through central portions of Virginia. There's a little bit of drizzle, mostly down across St. Mary's, parts of Calvert County as well. Nothing too heavy or steady. It looks like, and I mean, I know how this looks, right? It looks like a wall of water heading right for us here in D.C., but because the storm's going to come in and then take a turn back towards the Midwest, that's why the rain field's going to, I wouldn't say dissipate, but you'll see here on Futurecast, it's not going to be a complete wall of water heading in our direction. Watch as we head through Friday into the afternoon hours. Morning, you do see some rain along the I-66 corridor, and then afternoon, it's overhead here in D.C., and it can kind of be a couple rounds of it, but not for everyone. Notice the scattered nature of it. Again, it's hard for me to say that it's just going to be a lot of rain for us here in D.C. because that's just not the case. Futurecast rainfall showing most locations not even getting half an inch of rain from Helene as she makes her way northward. So major impacts here in D.C. No. Still going to have to deal with the clouds and the shower activity, though. 71 before school, after school about 75 degrees. Humidity will be very high tomorrow. Mention that improving forecast this weekend. We'll make you wait till the 7-day for that, but I think you'll like what you'll see. Guys?